What's up, guys? Today, we are going to be talking about how Overwatch has held its popularity with very little updates, which is basically unheard of nowadays, especially the best example being Fortnite, a massive game that has such a big player base, having countless updates. Now, Overwatch hardly has any updates at all, and this has been the trend since it launched in 2016. So number one, we're going to start with how over the past couple of years, how players have even stuck with this game at all. And that was because players thought the game was a work in progress. Whether this was a marketing error, whether it was, you can chalk it up to whatever you want. I believe players were sold a bill of goods, whether Blizzard meant it or not. Players definitely thought that this game was a work in progress, that especially when Blizzard is saying things like all updates will be free when this game was coming out, that kind of leads people to believe that you're going to be adding content updates. We never really saw that, and I wouldn't count being able to play PvE like Junkenstein and the Retribution. You're able to play PvE stuff like once a year for 2 weeks and then it goes away. I wouldn't necessarily count that as content. People were expecting things like a campaign, maybe just more story and more lore, more stuff that just never really came. There's no really new way to experience the game. And it's a shame because when the game launched in 2016, it was very bare bones. And then like a month or two later, we had a competitive game mode, we have an arcade, so it feels like players start to see, oh my gosh, we're gonna keep getting updates. The game is just going to keep getting better and better, and then after arcade mode was released, nothing for the next 2 years. The next point I have here, Overwatch has one of the best movement systems. It is probably the most fluid. Now, this is just like why Overwatch players aren't getting bored as fast as they would maybe playing this much time into another game. I think Overwatch at its core has one of the best movement systems, and this is just gameplay engineering and a gameplay mechanic. Now, Overwatch is a very arcadey feeling game. It feels like a video game. You move in any direction, you're instantly moving at max speed. And honestly, I think that feels the most fluid for video games, and really for shooter games, I think that's a lot of fun. Instead of like Counter-Strike where you kind of slow start when you're walking and then you build up to your max speed. And so that's why in Overwatch you can do these 80-80 spams, and in other games you can't really do that. But I think it's just a lot of fun. Next, really good game modes. So just think like what you're playing in quick play and competitive. It doesn't really get boring. You can still play it to this day. The game modes are not an issue. And I think that's rare in video games. And I think that's part of the reason why Overwatch has held its popularity, along with, here we go, Overwatch launched with the perfect number of heroes and variety. I think the heroes that launched with the game were enough for the rest of the game's life. And I might be a little bit controversial, because I do believe that the new heroes are what have been kind of like a poison to the game. Just to name a few, Brigita, Sombra, Doomfist, Ham, and Ashe. All have abilities that can take away your movement and your ability to play. And that's why I believe they are all unfun and don't belong in the game. But when Overwatch launched, all of the heroes were a lot of fun, except Mei. All of the heroes were actually pretty cool. And I think that there was plenty of variety. There was like 20 something. I don't think we needed any new ones. And the last point I have here is that we were getting teased as a player base just enough to keep sticking with the game. And for me, I was gonna play the game no matter what, because I was having a lot of fun with it. But for like your more casual players that will jump game to game, they were getting teased just enough with these small PvE updates like the Junkenstein's Revenge and those little things once a year. And it lasts just for a few weeks to maybe get a taste of like what could maybe be coming in the future and what Blizzard is capable of in Overwatch, and they would stick with the game a little bit longer. They were getting teased just enough, and then like the Retributions event and Blackwatch event, it kind of was just a big tease, and that's what's really kept players going. But it's funny to look back and really 3 years ago, this game came out, and we really haven't had any content updates. And all of these reasons why, and I guess this is mostly a positive video. This is talking about really good game modes, the perfect number and variety of heroes on launch, the best movement system in the current genre of FPS in my opinion. There is so much good to this game, and that's the majority of why it's held its popularity. Now, there's no secret, it's waning in popularity as of the past couple of months, past year. And there's a lot of factors into that. But and we talk about the heroes that people really don't enjoy playing with. And yeah, I believe that the new heroes have absolutely been a poison to the game. Most of them have the ability to take away your movement as a player. And just to touch on it real fast, because I think it's important to note, because that is a major thing to say in a video. Brigita, I don't have to explain here. Almost everything she does takes away your ability to control your character. Sombra, same thing. You can no longer use your abilities. You can't do this and that. Doomfist is the same exact thing. Most of his ability, all of his abilities, stun you, boop you, do whatever to move you where you can't move. Hammond does the same thing. The hero is all about just bashing you and doing a giant ground slam, and it pops you up into the sky. Even when he's just going in his ball and hitting you, it's all of these heroes are about taking away your ability to play and move at your own will in a video game. You no longer have control of your hero. And we look at Ashe, and Ashe is better, but she still is an offender. Her coach gun sends you flying halfway across the map. This is not something people want. And then we see things like the buff to Mei, her little snow cone ability now freezes you from an even further distance. Thanks, guys. And then also they buffed Lucio's boop. Something nobody was complaining about. Lucio now doesn't have to be anywhere close to you to send you flying like 3 times as far as he did back in like 2016. I mean, this no one wanted this. It's not an FPS game anymore. It's like a boop stun bash game. But we can talk more about that in another video. But the reasons why Overwatch has held its popularity. Number 1, you've been teased on the potential of the game so hard and sold that bill of goods that so much was coming. Number 2, the core gameplay of Overwatch when it launched and like the year and a half after, so perfectly amazing. How could you not play it? And many players felt this way. And then of course with the really good game modes and the maps felt fun, there's a really good variety, and the heroes that launched felt so good. The way the game was balanced felt so good. That's why Overwatch has been able to hold its popularity for a lot longer than other games with so little updates. And those are my thoughts. Have an amazing rest of the night, everybody. Take care. What's up, dudes? What's up, dudes? What's up, dudes? No.